Okay folks, so episode 3 didn't go as well as I planned. I tried to start the bike this morning to do a little demonstration with the voltmeter, but I think this fuel problem was a bit more than we expected. So it looks like I'm going to have to be draining this thing here, the fuel tank. I might even have to take the carburetor to bits. So that's what will be happening this episode. We're going to deal with, we've dealt with the engine, we've dealt with the exhaust pipe, still some crazy paint's coming off, I have to give it a recoat. Anyway, I'll deal with that at some point over this winter. Anyway, so as you know from Skeggy Cruiser Run, that happened about a month ago, I did have a fuel problem and I've lacked fuel or whatever it was. So obviously one of the things is cleaning this fuel tank, and what I've got for that, I've been reading on how to clean a fuel tank. Now I've had a look inside, I don't think there's any rust to worry about. If there was, I would have to then do electrolysis and stuff, but for its age, I don't think there's anything to worry about. But what I have got, and what I've heard from some of the forums, is you put in one way to clean it out is to obviously fresh the fuel, and I'm going to try something called Red X. We'll put that in the tank, slosh it around, then drain the fuel out. Obviously this is supposed to be put into a car so it goes through the whole fuel system, but I don't think that's a good idea. So there's 2 shots, so I'll fill it up with concentrate. This is only like a £2 bottle from Tesco's. Do 2 loads of fuel, and then the old fuel I'll stick into the car, because a car fuel tank works slightly differently with the petcock, all the fuel goes right down to the bottom, then through the petcock and gravitational into the carburetor, whereas the car has a fuel pump in the top and then sucks it up, so all the dirt will sink to the bottom. So I'm not too worried about that, so I'm not going to put all this fuel and stuff to waste. I'm sure some of you might be screaming saying, hey, that's a bad idea, but well, I'll just have to drain the car fuel tanks if it happens. But anyway, so that's that. I have also got down here a fuel filter, which I've already got a fuel filter on it here. It's been on there for some time. Probably is actually because I put it on after I got the bike, so it's probably time to replace that. It's not a bad idea, so I'll do that. What I did do, I'll just grab this thing here, the battery. This is the original battery. It's a 6 amp hour battery, and I'll just put it here. I'll talk about that in a bit. 6 amp hour battery. If we put the voltmeter onto DC volts 20, stick that here. I don't know if you guys can see it. If we stick it across the prongs, it reads 9.7 volts. It should be more than 12.4. This battery, the reason I've been kick-starting the motorbike is because of this battery. So this 6 amp hour battery is gone. And I thought I ordered a new right size battery, because batteries come in different sizes. It ended up I bought this little 4 amp hour battery, so I've had to use a block of wood. But I mean, it's lighter, so I might actually weigh the two, and then at the end, because we can also consider sort of like reducing the weight in a few places. And I was going to start it and then show you how to test an alternator. Now this battery, if I can get a positive and a negative, there we go. There's a good 12.44 volts. I don't know if, I'll see if I can try and rest it there for you guys. Don't know if you can see it. I don't know where to mount it. Anyway, so it's 12.44 volts, which is a good sort of voltage for battery. And one way you can actually test the charging system is to do the same trick with the engine running. It should read something like 14.6, 14.2728. Not fluctuate much, and if you rev the engine, it won't fluctuate much, so it's good. Now, that would say that the whole alternator system is working. Now, unlike a car, the alternator system on a motorbike is slightly different. Okay, just move that microphone. Now, on a car, it's like just one unit powered by a belt on the crankshaft. In a motorbike, you've got a stator in here and a magnetic flywheel. Okay, and it comes up these wires here through this little plug along here and into a regulator rectifier. So because it comes up as AC, you need to convert it into DC, so you need what's called a bridge rectifier. That's like 4 diodes that converts from AC to DC, and you need a regulator. And it's usually one unit or a few units. I don't know what these things do, but I think they could be flasher relays for the indicators and stuff. But anyway, so regulator rectifier, which is kind of this unit here, and it stops the voltage from going too high or too low, which would then burn out the battery, and that's what keeps it all charged up. The other thing I'm going to do is obviously replace the spark plug. Now, the original spark plug, this is a regular NGK, and because this engine's similar to a Honda CG125, I was reading on a web page that sort of showed you how to change we talk about sort of different things you can do. And so one of the best spark plugs is to go for a slightly cooler spark plug which works up at higher RPM, and at lower RPM you also need a warmer spark plug to burn the heat off. What I've done, I said one of the best things you can do is go for an iridium spark plug at the higher setting, or the colder setting, and if you look at the end there, that little point goes to a very fine point, so at lower RPM it should burn off the muck and deposits. So I'm going to put this in, and I will do a little bit of a review on it. So anybody who's got a copy engine of a Honda CG125, I'll just show you the number on the box. That's what I'm putting in. And the other thing I'd like to do is get this cover off and have a look, because I tried to do the ignition timing light, but that thing where you use to look at the timing marks, when is the engine running, it's spewing out oil. Okay, let's get on with it. Right guys, so everything's done. Now, got the bike running, so I'm going to show you actually how to check the alternator, which I wasn't able to do in the beginning. I found a negative, I found a positive. There we go, that's the voltmeter. If we give the bike a rev, there should be very little change, which should tell us that the alternator regulator rectifier is working okay. So it's reading 13.11 volts, which is all good. And if I rev it, there should be very little change. Which I can't see the voltmeter from here, but yeah, so that means everything should be working, hopefully. The numbers will be reading between 13 and 14. That nearly stalled there. Yeah. So it's not going too high, it's not burning the battery out. Okay, we switch this off. And it's settling down to a good old 12 point, settling down. So everything should be working okay. Okay, so there's that. Now, yep, so what I did is I drained the fuel tank, and I did a lot of, actually I had to sort of actually, there was a lot of dirt in there, so that probably caused a lot of the problems. I've also changed the fuel filter, cleaned the carb out. Did change the spark plug for the NGK one, or the iridium one, shall we say? And that's been running okay. That's been running good. Also, I didn't take the cover off, like I said I was going to, and have a look, because I read in the Haynes manual. I've got the Haynes manual for the general Chinese and Korean and Taiwanese 125s, and it said for this type of engine, to remove this, you'd have to drain the oil out, which means there is oil in there. So that's that done. Which basically means there's no oil leak in there. It's supposed to be swimming with oil, so I'm not able to check the ignition system, so that's something I'm not able to do. What else? I'm also going to do a thing called colour tune, which is this. I'll show you. Basically, there's this little kit here with, we're doing two hands. I'll show you what it consists of. Basically, it consists of a glass spark plug, and you just basically look inside the ignition, and basically you can tune the carburetor, adjust a few things. Very useful piece of kit. My father bought this one a few years ago, and I bought an adapter for it for the motorbike. So I'm going to be doing that, but that's going to be a separate video. Because these 125 improvement things, I get a little spring off, so other videos I can do. So I'm not going to do a colour tune in this series. The other thing I could have done is also clean this out, the airbox, and replace the air filter, but I haven't, and I will be getting around to doing that. What else do I need to do? Yeah, this carburetor I'm not too happy with. You've probably noticed me actually turning the fuel cock off when I stopped the motor. That's because it does leak, and I've played around the carburetor several times. So I might even change it. If I do, I'll do a little video on it, and basically how to take care of carburetors, because I seem to be taking this carburetor to bits and so forth. So that's another video for the future, not for now. So thanks for watching. I will carry on with other stuff. I'm going to have to do things like doing the chain, and I might even bleed the brakes and other bits and pieces. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks guys.